outraged and deeply saddened by the brutal violation of a 7-year-old child at Backview College in Matatiele. This abhorrent crime underscores the relentless scourge of GBV that continues to plague our nation. It is a moral indictment on our society that predators still find refuge in institutions meant to safeguard children. Even more disgraceful is the involvement of organizations like Afriforum, who shield suspects rather than standing for justice. In moments of such horror, there is no race, no politics, only humanity, Ubuntu. We demand the arrest and prosecution of all involved and call on the police for swift, thorough action. Enough is enough. We will not rest until every woman and child in South Africa is safe from such.
This week has been very heavy for most of us. We have been made aware of children who have been sexually assaulted in schools by adults who are meant to protect them. This week alone, we've learned of a young child, Cwecwe, from Matatiele, not too far from here. This child was brutally violated, and her perpetrators are yet to be found and prosecuted. Schools are meant to be places of safety, places of learning, places where parents leave their children to get an education, but not to get raped. I know this particular case is receiving attention from the provincial government and the South African Police Service at a national level. But let us be honest, ladies and gentlemen, that these interventions come once unimaginable harm has already been created. Justice must be served, yes, but more must be done to rid our schools and our society of sexual predators. This important work I intend on doing with Minister Kubai to change the law so that every single person who comes in contact with children in schools is vetted against the sexual offenders register. We cannot simply be angry, but we must let our anger fuel us into action.
What we're asking in the letter, well, is that the police, and I listened to your previous guest, I couldn't agree with her anymore, that the police must expedite this investigation and they must lead to the arrest of a suspected perpetrator, and that person must be put on trial. We're sitting 5 months after this rape of this little girl, and the police don't appear to have made a breakthrough. But we also point out in this particular letter that there appears to be glaring gaps in the investigation. We point out in significant detail the timeline that has been provided. And the only inference that one can draw if looking at the timeline is that this rape did not take place at the school. So that's an avenue investigation we point out. We also point out and we address this public allegation that's being made that Mr. Pieterse has not cooperated with the police. We were approached by Mr. Pieterse not as defense. Our office does not act as a defense officer. We do not defend accused persons. He approached us because he was receiving death threats online after being falsely accused of covering up this rape that took place in October last year. We first met with Mr. Pieterse at the beginning of February, and he sought advice on whether or not he could pursue criminal charges against the people making those allegations. It was subsequent to that that he got hold of our office and said that he'd been approached by the investigating officer with a request that he provide a buccal sample. That's a swab from inside your mouth for DNA purposes. Yeah. Mr. Pieterse asked the investigating officer whether he's a suspect and whether this was part of procedure. The investigating officer confirmed to him that he is not a suspect and that it was not part of procedure and that he was doing this request at the behest of the mother. It was then that he told the police officer, listen, I just want to take legal advice. We then wrote to the investigating officer, and we've made these letters public. Yeah. We wrote to the station commander at Matatiele, and we said, this is the request that's come in. Our client has cooperated with the police and is more than willing to cooperate with the police in obtaining the buccal sample, but please, can you follow due process? We have not heard back from the police. They have not responded to our queries, yet there's this suggestion that the principal and anybody related to the school is not cooperating. We point all of this out in our latest letter, and we ask the police to please do what is expected of them. the premises on that afternoon that the rape allegedly took place. Bagview College has got 3 campuses. The one campus is for grades 1 to 3. The other one is 4 to 7. And then the last one is for the high school kids. So there's 3 different campuses. His office is at the high school. This little child was picked up on the afternoon at the grades 1 to 3 campus. So he had no involvement in that whatsoever. However, he does say, and the police must have this knowledge, is that there were 4 employees at the location where the little girl was picked up. It was 3 female teachers and the groundskeeper, who I'm sure you've heard from reports has also been implicated in the matter related to the child. The principal only got word of what had happened the following morning, and it was immediately that he initiated the various steps to engage with the mother, and as well as the relevant parties in the department. All of this is contained, and there's a significant timeline that goes on from there. There was a report that was actually submitted, requested by the Department of Education in December for a full report on everything that has been provided. And that was provided to the the circuit manager, that's it, in the Eastern Cape in January this year, which sets out in full detail everything that had been done, as well as the interactions between the school and the SAPS. But we're not representing him as a defense counsel. We say in our latest letter as well, Kole, and we make this clear, if there's any evidence to suggest that Mr. Pieterse is linked to an offense, we walk away. We're prosecutors. We don't defend people. We are representing him in the capacity that he approached us in order to pursue criminal charges against people who had made death threats and defamatory charges against him.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is why we say clearly he's not a suspect. He has never been regarded as a suspect. We do not represent suspects.
Endlini sinemoto ziyi-2 ne sesithengisa imoto zoyi-2. It's fine. Sithengisa nomzi but it's okay. I'll start from scratch if it has to be, but I'll fight for my child until I sweat blood. I just need justice for